day to everyone, and for those in a different time zone, good evening. Um, I will show you some slides related to the dynamic learning program in the new normal. The DLP has been shown to be resilient to lockdowns or resilient to pandemics. And there are many examples of this, from typhoons to earthquakes and now the pandemic. And after that, the reason for that is because in the DLP, there is minimal teacher intervention. That means from the very beginning, since 2002, when it was first created, that teacher intervention or face-to-face contact between teacher and students range from zero, that means nothing, to 20 to 30%. That's from the very beginning. So it really fits the present situation where contacts between teacher and students are minimized. At present, we are addressing a spectrum of different scenarios, from those having internet connectivity to those who have none. And the dynamic learning program, the way it's created now, really is suitable for each type of situation. And next to that, from the very beginning, the dynamic learning program was designed such that it already incorporates a lot of scientific results, scientific studies, a lot of neuroscientific results, which we could explain during the panel discussion. And the next one, it is individualized. And the last one is that, maybe I just mentioned that the dynamic learning program is really cheap enough that any nation which encounters the present pandemic condition can adapt if they wish to. Now, let me go through the 4 components of the dynamic learning program. And if you are familiar with the dynamic learning program, the first one was the parallel classes scheme, and that has now evolved into the parallel home scheme. The second one are the activity-based learning using the learning activity sheets. And the third one is the comprehensive portfolio. That's where the students put the learning activities. And the fourth one is strategic rest. Now, in the video that you saw, I mentioned that the key to the dynamic learning program is the parallel classes scheme. But in this new normal, the DLP has sort of evolved. I would say that the parallel classes scheme, which is now the parallel homes, is automatic. You don't even have to discuss it. The comprehensive portfolio, that's also automatic, and strategic rest. I would say that in the new normal, the key of the DLP is now in the activity-based learning portfolios. And we will discuss that more about that during the panel, because there are a lot of everybody now saying that they're going to distribute modules. They're going to distribute different materials. But let us remember that for decades, the students have been given all the books that they want for free, especially in the public. For decades, teachers have been lecturing all the time. For decades, the students have been exposed to different types of modules. But what was the result? During the PISA exam, PISA would be the program for international students assessment. During the PISA, we did very, very badly. So now, in the new normal, when we're saying that we're going to simply distribute the materials to the students and hopefully they will read it, I'm afraid that if we stick to the same materials and modules, and especially now that you cannot lecture face-to-face, I'm afraid that it might even become worse. I mean, if we take the PISA again, it might become worse. So that's why I say that in the new normal, the key now in the dynamic learning program is in the learning activity sheets. And we will talk more about that. Now, at the next page, this is just a drawing, a schematic of the parallel learning homes, where the students, the learning activities will be distributed. There are many ways to distribute, either online, offline, in bringing the materials to the purok or barangay or whatever. And each material will be good for 1 week, and they will be submitted back to the subject teacher after 1 week. And so, sometimes you say garbage in, garbage out. So now the crucial part in the new normal would really be, what type of materials do you feed the students? Is it going to be the same as the one that you did in the traditional? Especially now that you cannot really lecture face to face. And in the next slide, this is just to emphasize the key to the dynamic learning program in the new normal, that the way the DLP was designed from the very beginning was that we say that the ideal learning activity requires zero teacher intervention, which is just perfect, which is perfect for this pandemic condition. And next page, before I end, this is my last slide actually. In the old normal, while the students were doing the learning activities, since the classroom is not teacher dominated, you can click the next slide, please. In the old normal, the students were allowed to, there's a lot of peer tutoring. They were allowed to collaborate. And this is actually a 21st century skill, to collaborate, to communicate, because it's not teacher dominated. So in the new normal, this would also occur, this would also happen. And they will be taught subtly this skill, which is very, very important in the 21st century. So I think briefly, that's an overview of how the 4 components of the DLP in the old normal translates into the 4 components of the new normal. As I said, the parallel classes or parallel homes is almost automatic. We don't even have to worry about that. And the portfolio is almost automatic. That's where you file all these things. And the strategic rest, still there should be no homework. There should be nothing beyond the learning activities that will be sent to the students. But the key here really is the type of material. And the type of materials have been worked on for the past 18 years by all DLP implementing schools. And it cannot, I don't think you can make them overnight. So that's just my message.